Hello, Star Wars fans. Welcome to our spoiler review of episode 5 of the Book of Boba Fett, The Return of the Mandalorian. And, well, the title kind of gave it away, but I was still kind of surprised to not really see Boba Fett in the whole episode. We went right to see our, well, at least my very, very well, I would like to say dear friend. It's not really true, but my the character that I've come to love, the Mandalorian, like there's only one, and he was on a bounty hunt or something like that. It's not really a bounty hunt. He was collecting money from a butchery, getting some dude who was called something like Kaba Bias. And that didn't all go as planned, I think.
Yeah, that guy tried to trick our Mandalorian at first, and but he let him trick because he had that what is it called, that pinger and the picture on that hologram of that guy, and
Yeah, he
yeah,
tried to tell him it doesn't even look like him, and I think it looked pretty much like him.
yeah.
But then, yes, it's difficult with alien races. Do you really do you really have the skill to tell them apart? I mean, some people even have difficulties to tell human races apart if they're not too familiar with the race. So yes, I can see how that could be a challenge. But the real challenge was like he was fighting with his new weapon, the dark saber, and he was kind of doing like a beginner's mistake. He injured himself. We actually have a video about this, I believe, in our series about the hero's journey. What if you're not skilled with the weapon you're fighting with? So we give you a link in the description. Yeah, I mean, that's what happened. And I thought, like, I mean, I always believed the Mandalorian was this awesome fighter, like sort of on a similar level, maybe with Jedi, but no, not at all. I mean,
well, at least he can't handle a lightsaber, so
not at all. No,
he seems to be able to handle everything else. So
yeah, but I mean, like not hitting your own leg, but it wasn't clear to start with. And it was kind of difficult to interpret that scene, actually. And there was another thing. Did you notice this, guys? He was, at first I thought he was injuring his right leg, but later his left leg was injured. So was that my mistake, or did they actually make a movie mistake?
Yeah, it was the same with me. I wondered, and I even watched it twice. So I had the same impression that in one scene it was the right leg that was injured, and then in all the other scenes it was the left. I don't know.
Crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, but anyway, so we saw him, kind of not being able to walk properly through most of this movie, really. That's what it felt like. So he goes to the space ring city where he delivers most of the, no, only
only the head of Kaba Bias.
Yeah, certain parts, probably the head. But he's not interested in another mission. He has this meeting with the golden helmet armor woman.
Yeah, the armorer. She's called the armorer, apparently.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and she seems to be like the super strict lady who kind of trains him to fight with a dark saber. It's not a lightsaber, it's a dark saber. Interesting.
Yes.
Use of words. And we hear a little bit about the story about the dark saber. That's interesting. So it was forged by somebody who was both Mandalorian and Jedi. So interesting.
Yes, and it was also forged by an ancestor of Paz Vizsla, who is with them actually, and and this leads to a duel between both of them, and we learn a lot of Mandalorian lore and legend stuff in this episode.
You're not supposed to take down your helmet ever, like even not for washing or just in front of somebody else.
In front of somebody else.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess.
what I kind of saw.
Because otherwise they would have had their food.
They would stink
in liquid form, or I don't know.
Yeah, they couldn't cut their hair, I guess. But that kind of is interesting in the context because, first of all, we met in the Mandalorian, other Mandalorians who didn't abide to this Mandalorian rule, but also it kind of puts Boba Fett into perspective with those traditions. So he is like the clone of a Mandalorian, but even his father put down his helmet. Or was his father not a real Mandalorian? I think he was. That's what we established looking at the history, but not a Mandalorian who kept to the rules. So that's interesting.
Yeah,
and it
indeed.
seems to be very strict. So I don't know what the consequences are. So he goes like, "Oh yeah," but he's honest. He doesn't want to lie, and he has put his helmet down. So that means, what does it mean? He can't be the leader, or
I think it means he cannot be a Mandalorian anymore, and he cannot join the other two by rebuilding the nation or the group. Yes. I don't know.
So supposedly he would be the leader of everybody, having the dark saber.
Yes, and now he's an exile, sort of.
He's an exile leader with the dark saber.
Yeah, so but he has still a chance to enter the Mandalorian clan, so to say, again by washing himself.
He needs to purify himself in a cave or what it was that doesn't exist anymore.
Yes,
that's a bit of a problem here.
Yeah, maybe it still exists. It's
the sort of crashed or something like that. So I don't know what that means, but it doesn't seem very possible. So maybe it's just a plot device to get him to have to join Boba Fett, which he sort of did, and it's even been an honor to him, sort of. So he kind of exists outside of this Mandalorian society. So is this going to be important again? Or was this just a story of why he will be with Boba Fett?
Yeah, wait and see. So something else that the armorer said was, according to legend, when the Mythosaur will...
what is that, a mythological dinosaur? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. She says that it only exists in legend, but it made me think of that dragon that they killed in the Mandalorian.
It didn't sound like it was a dragon. It sounded like a person.
I believe.
Okay.
I believe Boba has that sign also on his armor.
Which sign?
The sign we have seen above the door, where
the symbol, yes.
I believe Boba got the same sign on his shoulder armor.
I think it's a Mandalorian symbol.
Yeah, could be.
It's just a price tag.
Yeah, actually, I thought it was some sign like the Mandalorian got on his armor, where he defeated what was it in the Mandalorian that rhino like species. Do you remember?
Well, he got some help with that, didn't he? But anyway. But also talking about armors and weapons, he melted the spear which can pierce Mandalorian armor, which I think is a super cool weapon to have, even though he does have the dark saber, to have like a backup weapon to be able to fight awesome enemies. That looked very cool, and he melted that down, and I didn't really get why. I mean, it's supposedly to make a present for...
the armorer said that Beskar is made for armor and not for weapons, and the existence of this spear, because he can pierce, and that the spear can pierce Beskar, so it is a threat to all Mandalorians. And so he said, okay, forge it to an armor then.
Yeah, but given the fact that Mandalorian lore clearly means you have to perhaps fight a Mandalorian at some point, you know,
Yeah,
I think that's a pretty cool thing to have, and I would not have given that away. And if there's a law like that, I mean, I don't know if that's the first time he heard of it.
Yeah,
Maybe just don't bring it to this meeting, you know, just keep it hidden when you need it.
I think he wanted to comply to the rules of the Mandalorian rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he did, but
yes.
They
so like this is the way, you know, what they always say.
This is the way.
Yeah.
This is the way.
This is the way, but that way doesn't seem to be always in his favor. I mean, if he's committed to those rules, yeah, I guess, but then I don't know, or is it just that...
then again, I guess you're a bit right, because this guy Paz, whatever, he says, fate brought back this blade to my clan, and now fate will end your clan. So this is not very friendly after all, is it? So
no, I mean,
maybe it was he has an enemy in this guy.
And I'm sure he does, and he didn't kill him, which was noble, maybe a mistake, but noble.
Yes.
Or maybe the rules didn't allow him because she said stop. I don't know. But
no, she didn't. She didn't say anything.
She did call a halt to the fight.
Did she? Okay, sorry.
I thought at least she did.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, I believe she said it's enough or something else.
Yeah, it was settled in a way. So Paz Vizsla lost. Yes.
Yeah, but the question is, you know, can he just challenge him again in like 5 minutes later or something? Or
the words he said was "leave apostate." So this was not friendly.
Yeah, but what
anyway? So
now, should he perhaps have killed that guy? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good question. Yes.
Also, by the way, he melted this huge spear, and then he got a small package back. So she kept most of this really valuable metal for herself. So seems still not a good deal.
So the package was a piece of cloth, and the way it was folded, it reminded me of these ears of Grogu.
Yes, it was kind of folded like, yeah, that's same thing I saw.
Yeah.
And I believe Mando wanted to forge an armor for Grogu, and I believe he will receive a chain armor, because we have that scene where some chains drop, and it reminded me on a medieval chain armor in some kind.
Yeah, that would be interesting. But the chain armor, does that really help against laser beams and stuff like that? Because Beskar potentially can do that. But I think if it has holes, I'm not sure that works.
Yes, I was also unsure what it meant that these.
I was asking myself the same, but still, it did seem like the material he got out of this was far less.
Yes.
So I didn't think that was a good trade in any case, or maybe that was a price for having her make it. I don't know.
I believe some of the part or some of the material is they give him, or he give it to the Mandalorian clan. I believe in the Mandalorian series, some parts of the Beskar he brought to his clan. He get his armor from, and other parts are for the group.
Yeah, maybe like that. Yeah, I don't know.
But this portable smithy is wonderful, isn't it?
Well,
I like it.
And I think it would be useful to have, I guess, if you can use it.
Yeah.
But she was also like training him, and the fight was pretty serious. So like, I don't know. And when he was hitting her with a dark saber, so if she didn't block it, he would cut right through her, or how does that work? So that was a pretty risky.
A good question.
Is she
I
still-
guess that they went through some drills, so she knew what would come next because she gave commands. But yeah, it was a risk for her. But then again, he couldn't handle it. He even fell off the platform.
Yeah, and what's that about? Like the dark saber now has his own will or something, and he's
Yeah,
fighting
that-
against it.
Yes,
That's very interesting.
that was the idea. Yes, so she explained it, and
But
there
it
was
didn't make sense. Why would it? I mean, it's an inanimate object. Where does that come from, or how can it possibly pose a challenge?
Well,
so we need more information about that.
Well, obviously, it is not inanimate because it has its own will, apparently. So I don't
That's
know.
what
It wasn't
we're meant to believe. But where would
Yes.
that come from? How does it even have a soul, or I don't know, or,
Yeah,
or
maybe
intelligence
it's-
or anything? And how can it even have a will? Even if it has a will, what can it do about him wielding it? Is that
Yeah.
is that the force or in that object, or how does that work? And
Maybe-
does every
maybe
lightsaber have its own will, or
maybe
just
some
dark saber?
maybe some Mandalorian thing. So I don't know. Maybe we will learn more about this. But yeah, I thought it strange as well.
Yeah.
It reminded me a bit of the One Ring or whatever magic object in
Yeah.
myths or legends or
Weird thing.
Mm, yes.
So anyway, he leaves this planet, and he leaves this planet by a commercial flight, and he has to check in all his weapons.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, hey, he has this super rare, super valuable dark saber, and he's just gonna check this in. And I thought they're probably gonna nick it from him.
Yeah.
But then he gets everything back. So I was kind of still wondering, did he check whether it still works? Is it still the real thing, or did they maybe quickly, make a fake one?
Yes.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Because a lot of people want to have this, clearly,
Mhm.
especially amongst the Mandalorians. But I guess everybody would think it's
Yeah.
a really valuable thing.
But where should they know that he puts his saber in that chest? Yeah, I'm not sure yet.
Well, they could have known that he has to leave the planet. They could have arranged with a commercial. I don't know how many commercial flights there are in the first place. They could have said, like, if this dude comes, obviously he has to check in his weapons. So prepare for that.
Yeah.
Sort
Good
of.
question. So I have not watched The Mandalorian far enough. But I guess maybe they didn't know he has this weapon. Yes.
Well, they knew. I mean, they knew after. At least the Mandalorians knew after the scene that we just seen.
Yes.
And maybe they would be
Yes,
the most
obviously.
interested party.
But then again, it's the creed, it's the way. So he won it. He won it again from Paz, whatever his name is. And if they respect Paz
do you-
Vizsla, if they respect their own lore, they cannot take it from him. But
Yeah,
he
well,
was
we know
he
he's
was,
honorable.
he was pissed off. Yeah.
Yeah, but
guy
we
was
know
pissed
he's
off.
honorable. But do we know the other Mandalorians are equally honorable?
Yeah, Paz Vizsla. Yeah, he doesn't.
I think he's the bad
Yeah.
guy.
He could be the bad guy. Yes.
Yeah, he greeted the whole time about that sword as soon as he has seen it. So yeah,
Mhm.
he had eyes always on that sword.
Yeah, well, we now won't know why, because
Yeah.
it was forged by his ancestor and founder of his
Mm-hmm.
house. So yeah, good question. What if there will come something after it? Yeah.
And he's going to Tatooine, so that's obviously the connection where he is expected to find a ship for him, but it's a very different ship than he expected. It's a Naboo starship, put together from strange pieces by a woman who at the same time says, I dated a Java and I know what I'm doing. And I think, like, aren't those two mutually exclusive?
Yeah, after I heard that, I was just, what did you do?
Yeah.
But at least we now know Javas are hairy little creatures.
Yeah, I'm not sure I did want to know that.
Yes. But she's got a good connection to these guys, and it's a bit like I don't know, Amazon. I need this. Okay, you can have it the
they
next
nick it,
day.
they steal it, they take it from somebody.
Yeah, that's a difference
Yeah.
to this. Yeah.
Talking about weird creatures, did you notice this dragon rooster who kind of, when the day broke, there was this dragon rooster just for a short scene.
When he
believe
tested his new.
No, just like a scene. There was this thing that made it sound sort of like a rooster in the morning, but it was some kind
yes,
of
yes.
dragonish. I thought, like,
Yes.
what's that?
Yes. Now I remember. Yeah, I expected it to kikariki in the morning. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird. Really weird.
Really weird. Yes. Another thing that was weird is when the mechanic, this woman, was carried away by this rat, and the Mandalorian shot it, and I said, what kind of rats do they have?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that was a thing, clearly. Yeah.
Yeah. But we have seen that rat just before the woman has the rat on his leg. It was quite huge. It was as large as those droids. So yeah, they are pretty huge.
Yeah. I wanna.
Yeah, and these droids are very human and very neurotics in a way.
And funny. I like the little one, was really cute. I mean, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Amazing.
Yes.
Bugger.
So it has some comedy or comedian effects here. This series it definitely has.
Yeah, but eventually he's flying that thing, and it seems to be super fast. Even though, to start with, I saw like, which way is the front?
Yeah. As I saw that the Naboo fighter in the canyon flying through, it reminded me to those pod racers at Star Wars Episode 1.
Very much.
And
Yes.
damn, that thing is so fast and agile. It's awesome. And
Yes, it is awesome. And
yeah.
he flew just right into space. And did he pass by a Star Destroyer and just kind of, or what was that huge thing?
It was that
The passenger flight
the
thing.
passenger flight ship.
Yes, that
Yes.
also, but there was also some other thing, do I remember this wrongly? He's passing that passenger flight, but I think he was also passing something that, at least for a moment, looked like a Star Destroyer.
Yeah, maybe. But
I
then
don't
again,
know.
he got into a police check again, just like
it
the
was
same
like
the same
X-Wing
guys.
Republic officers. It's kind of weird.
Yes.
I mean, we already had that in the Mandalorian, and they
Yes, it was a deja vu. I said, hey, I just saw it.
but like the Republic,
Yeah.
like an X-Wing, that's like a rebel fighter for me, and now it's like the police.
Yes.
Really? Seriously? Do you have your papers?
Yeah.
Did you drive too fast? That's like not what I expect the rebel force to be like. I mean, it's not anymore apparently, but it's kind of weird. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's and they behave like the stormtroopers or some thing, and so just, do you want to fill in reports? No, I don't. Okay, let him go. What the fuck?
But did you see how fast he was able to escape from that X-wings?
Yes.
The other one
aren't slow, actually.
They aren't slow, and the other one also thought that he started his hyperdrive, and the other person just said it was what is it called, underlight thrusters or something.
Yeah. Oh, just for the record, I totally got all the technical terms they threw around while they were building this thing. I got every little term, it's totally followed. Yeah, okay, I get what you're saying here. I'm sure you did too.
Yeah, of course I did. Hmm, awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
Definitely.
yeah, what's about this episode? So we learn a lot of Mandalorian lore, and we have an explanation why the Mandalorian will meet Boba Fett, and we even saw Fennec Shand. So finally, I knew I was in the right series. So sometimes I had to check: am I watching the Mandalorian or
But
am I
she was
watching
shortly
Boba
in the Mandalorian, though. She was shortly in the Mandalorian, so you can't be sure.
Yeah, so Boba Fett was as well. So he just looked, his armor went by in a way. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of.
But yeah, I'm not sure. That's just the bit that tells us, okay, now the Mandalorian's going to be back. Is that it, or will these events still have further effects on the whole story? That's what I'm curious about, because we've seen will they get into trouble with the other, hardcore Mandalorians who never take off their helmet and who never eat something in public, I guess, and who never go to a restaurant.
So
And,
you think that maybe they will be into the fight with the Pikes and.
So here's the real question I have. How do they create other Mandalorians with their helmets on? How does that work?
Well, Boba Fett was cloned, so maybe this is a reply
Maybe
to
that explains it. Maybe that explains why he was cloned.
And it also
And then we
explains
saw
why they are
Jango
just
Fett
two.
put his helmet down. In fact, once, but then, I'm not sure I should say this, but in the last scene of Jango Fett, he actually kept his helmet on, sort of.
Yeah, well, okay. I know what you mean.
Even under extreme circumstances, we could
He
say.
was decapitated, so he didn't have a choice in this matter.
Okay, yeah, well, shouldn't have said
yes.
that. That was mean. That was mean. Also, talking about mean things, we also heard about this event in Mandalorian history, the Night of 1,000 Tears.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know what that's about, but I think I roughly remember there was some kind of event that when Mandalore lost its sovereign status or something like that.
Yeah, the Empire sent military and they destroyed the planet, I guess.
Yeah, I believe it was mentioned in the Mandalorian.
Destroyed? I don't think the planet is destroyed, but I'm not sure.
Well, they said they flee to the moon.
To the moon. Okay.
They had to leave the planet.
Doesn't mean the planet's gone.
Yeah, well, but it looked quite like destruction and death and destruction, and there was some Terminator-like robots shooting in what was left. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I believe it was also mentioned in the series of the Mandalorian that this day was the downfall of Mandalore, and I believe that what was also the day where Moff Gideon got the sword.
Sword.
Yeah, sword from.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but so I'm curious. Will we see more of other Mandalorians? What will they think about Boba Fett and his status? Do we even care about what they think? Does Boba care? Is he like technically a Mandalorian? Well, certainly not by the keeping your head covered.
Not by this rule, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I said Mandalore. So some guy in some other episode said Mandalore is not a folk or race or people, but a creed. So there are different opinions on this, and we also met the other Mandalorians who put the helmet off. So it's a question whether this counts or not. It depends on your opinion on it, I guess.
And
so.
I would be curious, what's actually the point of this whole thing? I mean, can you take every other part of just not the helmet? So, can a Mandalorian, can a Mandalorian girl send nude pics to her Mandalorian boyfriend, just keeping the helmet on?
Yeah.
So nobody can know who she is, or do they just?
It's
do
a
they
good
know who they
question.
are?
It's a
Just
good
by the helmet.
it's a good question. Although you
how-
make fun of it.
How
But,
do they save themselves from spies? I mean, like, how do they know
Yes.
it's the right person under the helmet? You know,
Yeah, it's
is
yeah.
that the voice? Can the voice be faked? I don't know.
Yeah, so it's a good question what it means. So the Mandalorian says loyalty and solidarity are the way, as opposed to the way of the Jedi, who must let go of all attachment. So maybe it is letting go of an attachment if you don't show your face. But what's the deeper meaning in this? So,
I think it's a good point, but it's not a clear opposite. I mean, like, the opposite of loyalty
Yeah.
would be illoyalty, and the opposite
Yes.
of solidarity would be
I guess the point was it was loyalty and solidarity towards your own kind, whereas the Jedi must let go of all personal attachment because they are attached to everybody in a
but
way.
they're still loyal to their own kind, being the Jedi. You know,
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah,
the
that's
Mandalorians are loyal to the, you know, to the Mandalorians, and the Jedi, then they don't. I mean, it's not. Actually, the opposite would be the Sith in many ways. They are not loyal to anybody, not even their own master, necessarily, because the only way you can become a Sith master is by killing, you know, if the apprentice kills the master.
Mm.
So that's where you are, where you have the opposite, I'd say, not the Jedi. At least that's how it sounded. You
Yeah,
know,
well,
that's what you're thinking about.
I quoted what was said. So they said
Yeah, you're right.
as
That's how it was
opposed
said,
to-
but I think it's not. It doesn't make sense. The opposite would be the Sith, really. So they actually the Jedi are not that far away.
Yeah, so there were
I mean,
similarities. I guess there are quite a lot of similarities actually.
Yeah, and also they have this whole, like, this is the way.
Yeah.
You cannot do this. You cannot
It's
have
the
a
way.
girlfriend. You cannot put your helmet down. You cannot
Force-
send nude pics because
for-
you need to keep your helmet up. Or I don't know.
well, if you watch any science fiction stuff, you don't notice any social media stuff. So I guess it will be extinct in the near future.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it distracts you from the really important things.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so what do we say? What are we looking
I think it was still, it was a fun episode to watch. I'm still I have to check again whether I was right about this. Did he hurt his left or right leg or both, or I don't know, or did they make a mistake here? But most important, I'm curious, will we see the other Mandalorians again? And also, I'm really, really happy to have this Mandalorian, Mando, or he actually has a different name. They actually mentioned his name. He's
Din Djarin.
Djarin. Something like that, yeah.
Din Djarin, yes.
So I just kind of call him Mando. So Mando's back, and I liked him a lot.
Yeah.
So I hope we will see Baby Yoda, who's called actually something.
Grogu.
Say again?
Grogu.
Kogu.
Grogu.
Kogu. Oh, yeah, Kogu, I think. Will we see him again? Because I think he was actually my favorite character in the whole show.
Yeah, and since Mando just lost his not his tradition, but his attachment is maybe the connection to.
Maybe just was, you know, telling the story of why he just doesn't have anything to do with them anymore.
Yes.
Maybe that's just it. But maybe we'll see them again, and somebody tries to get the dark saber from him.
Yeah, maybe they form a new clan, or maybe they do something completely different. So we don't know, because he and Grogu were a clan until he brought him back. So yeah, who knows? What maybe it's.
Will Grogu have been trained in the Force since then, and will he be better?
Then. Yeah, by the way, so this is what I wondered about. Grogu used the Force several times, but in the last episode, last ones he didn't. So I wondered, but then, well, that's a different series anyway.
We'll find out where he's at right now.
Yes, yes. we'll find this out. Yeah,
So
so
we
I'm
meet
very-
other Jedi. I mean, like there was this. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there was this awesome scene, I believe, at the end of the Mandalorian where awesome things happened, and I'm not going to tell more.
no spoilers, please, because I have to watch the rest of the second thingy.
Okay.
Staffel.
So if you come to this awesome scene, you'll probably know it. And if you're not sure, that's not the awesome scene.
Let's return to Boba Fett. So
Okay. Yeah, well, we will probably in the next episode return to Boba Fett. That's what I assume. So with that,
I hope so.
any other thoughts? Any final thoughts?
I'm just curious how Mando, or if Mando returns to his clan. But it's Boba Fett. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm curious, and how he develops, and will we see more of him? Because I also like him very much.
Awesome. So I think his new clan is going to be Boba Fett. That's my bet. And I'm curious what our viewers think about this episode. What have you missed? What do you think is different? And we're looking forward to meet you again, of course, when we discuss the next episode. So stay with this channel, and looking forward to see you soon. And of course, all your thoughts in the comments, please, and give us your like and subscribe, and convince other people to subscribe. And because we need to have this big clan now, you know.
Yes, we need
Because
a clan.
loyalty is important.
Yeah, loyalty is important. You know, follow the spirit of the Mandalorian.
This is the way.
Yeah.
Okay, see you
This is the
soon,
way.
guys.
See you soon.
This is the way. This is the way.
This is the
Subscribe and
way.
hit the bell, because this is the way.
This is the way.
See you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye bye.